Roll call, please.
Barr, Giovanini,
Here.
Eckhoff,
Here.
Callis.
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Hauser, Bradshaw.
Here.
Cranford, Howard, Willie.
Here.
Thank you. Being the first meeting of the month, there should be a meeting of the Civic Center Authority with no business before the Civic Center Authority. We'll conclude that meeting and move right into our regular meeting. We have the consent agenda with 5 items. We've had a chance to check that out.
I would motion acceptance of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion by Kelly, seconded by John Willie. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the regular agenda, we have a street closure for the United Way. I see Deb's here. Would you like to speak about that?
We've been doing the summer bash for about 7 years now, and we'd like to again ask if we could close one street between Howard and Madison. It would be May 24th, which would be Labor Day weekend. I would contact Dan Rutherford and the dance center to make sure that was okay with them. It was last year, they said they don't do anything in the holiday week, although Dan did come and enjoy it. Everything would be the same. The only thing that would change is our alcohol distributor this year. Kyle DeLong has a baby due right then and there, so he would rather not be our alcohol distributor. And, so we'll go to Bob and Ringo's local 13.
Okay. Any questions for Barb?
I would motion we allow the street closure.
I'll second that.
Looks like everybody wants to have a party. Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, take care, Deb.
I just realized
Moving right along, police pension report.
Yes, in your packets, you have the annual report from the Pontiac Police Pension Fund. So all the numbers are there. I'll just quickly touch. As you can see, the market value of assets ending 3/31 of 2023 were $10,799,999.27, and they started at $11,487,840.81. So there was a decrease in the fund. In the performance, the actuarial assumed investment return was 6.8%. The actual return was 1.2%. On the second page, the other thing of note in the pension fund is that the levy, I'm sorry, the levy was recommended levy for 23-24 was $735, $271. Again, the police fund is now a pooled fund in the Illinois Police Public Pension Fund. And so those numbers are all, they come from them, and we get the reports from them. So if you have any questions on this fund, that performance was about what was expected, what we knew what the market was doing last year.
I don't think there's much we can say other than it had
It
a
is
poor
what it
year as far as return went. So, yeah.
it will start getting better.
No questions on that? Let's move to committee reports. Finance and Administration. Kelly, you want to?
Sure. We met last Thursday, February 1st, and everybody's got the minutes here in front of you, but we discussed the preparation for our budgeting for this next year and talked about the need for an increase in garbage fees, which we will be discussing later on our agenda. We also talked about new code enforcement fees and building and zoning fees, again, later on our agenda. And the investment policy, adopting an investment policy, as we had not had one in our code before. So that's on the agenda as well. Good meeting.
Thank you. We also had an infrastructure meeting. Frank, you want to touch on that?
The Infrastructure Committee met on February 1st. We discussed the following. We anticipate $770,000 in revenue. Brian presented us with a 5-year plan for the streets, discussed the street ratings, and revised the annual plan for street, sidewalk, and trail maintenance. And we also hit on the idea of another attempt at sales tax increase to fund street repairs.
Yeah. It was also a good time, or a good meeting. A lot of good topics came up. From those meetings, we have item D on our list, residential garbage rate for 2024.
Yes, as you know, in the agreement, we have an agreement that has set rates through 2027. The one variable is the processing fee for recycling, and that is based on a change in commodity basket values that Republic has when they sell those commodities. Right now, their charge to the city as of January is $22.25 per unit. Currently, our monthly fee is $20.27. In committee, we spoke about, that fee obviously is falling behind, and increasing the fee to $22.75 for the residential garbage and recycling fee monthly. That's what I would propose to the council to adopt, is $22.75 for garbage and recycling fee.
Need a motion for that?
Yes, we do.
I'll move that we do.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I just want to note that we did learn in our committee meeting that we have been, had a small deficit over the last couple of years in garbage fees. So this will help us to bring it back into a pretty even.
Make us solve it, yeah.
It's not a profit maker, but it won't be a loser.
Yeah,
So,
right.
there we go. Motion by Bill and seconded by Kelly. Roll call, please.
Eckhoff?
Yes.
Callis?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Bradshaw?
Yes.
Willie?
Yes.
Giovanini?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to item E, updated schedule of fees for building and zoning. I see Greg is here and he's raring and ready to fire away.
Good evening, council. So our department, the Building and Zoning Department, obviously conducted a survey of neighboring and comparable communities to ensure that we are doing best practices, that we are in line with what other building and zoning departments are doing. And as a result of that, we are going to respond to that and bring some things into what we believe is in line. And one of those first things that we want to bring in line is our survey fees, or is our permit fees. Our permit fees have been very low for years. They haven't changed in decades, and they were lower than any of our comparable communities. So if you take a look at the schedule there, that second page has the community and what their current permit fees are. There are two different ways that they structure their permit fees. So to give you a kind of an apples to apples, it'll show you what we are at at a $3,000 cost of work. You see a lot of what a community charges for that. And so to bring us more in line is that third page is our proposed schedule, where in the center column is our current rate, and to the far right is the new proposed rate. It walks you through kind of what that will look like now. We will still be among the lowest of our comparable communities, but we won't be under off of the scales to the bottom. The best one-to-one comparison is for 2023, we submitted an estimated $9.8 million worth of work and collected $27,448 in permit fees. With this new fee schedule, for that same amount of work, we will have collected $59,960 in permit fees. So that change, the difference will cover some other things that we want to do to bring us to, up into date, like code enforcement and permitting software.
We're really low.
We are very low. We're very low.
Hey Greg, how do you handle the setting the $1,000 deal? So if somebody comes in and says, I'm building a 2,500 square foot house, my cost is 100,000. And you know you can't build a 2,500 square foot house for 100,000. What do you permit, how do you permit that?
Great question. There is the ICC, the International Code Council, actually breaks down the estimated cost per square foot of new construction.
Is that in our ordinance to set the rates that way?
It is in our ordinance currently.
Great job on this, Greg. Long overdue.
Are these the same for residential and industrial?
Yes.
And quite frankly, we have not had a across-the-board rate increase in at least 8 years, so this has been something that we're glad to see come forward.
I think it keeps us competitive, but helps us, when we were talking to, is to upgrade some software and some much needed, with the amount of work that he's seeing, moving away from just an Excel spreadsheet.
What's our ordinance say? I don't remember without looking at, like on governmental, can say a school does a building, or the county does a building, or the township builds a building. But do we charge regular fees for that, or is there an exemption for tax exempt entities? Or public entities?
I know for things like utilities, I'm certain we have not charged a permit fee at all. I believe that extends to schools. Government entities.
'Cause I know schools have their own rule on design and permitting. We don't, it's,
Often we don't even know that schools are.
yeah, they just override us.
Okay.
Building safety codes override our building code.
I would motion that we accept the proposed increases.
I'll second. Okay. Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jason. Roll call, please.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Jovanini,
Yes.
Echo.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Great work.
Good work.
Okay, moving on, investment policy proposed.
Yes, sure. And this policy was a template from the Illinois Government Finance Officers Association. Discussions that I've had with our treasurer, Carol, and Lauterbach and Amen on investing of public funds. I didn't find a written policy that we had, so, and if we did have one, I guess it just wouldn't hurt to update it. So we together went through and created this investment policy. The point of the policy is that if we have funds that are sitting, basically, then we should put them to work. And however, to keep them available, so the policy would not extend past 1 year of each individual investment. Typically, I think we would look more toward the weeks or 6-month type of CDs or bonds, different kind of things. So in essence, this policy covers the objectives, the legality, safety, liquidity, and the yield. And it goes through, as you can see, the ethics, conflicts of interest. It has performance standards and reporting that this information will be reported publicly to the council, and as well as an annual report. So I think it just puts us in line, good place that as we move forward, things can happen. I didn't want to take any actions without having a policy in place.
And most of the investments we're looking at are going to be through local institutions. So we're going to keep it within the community as much as possible. Yeah. Any questions on that?
Would this be the same policy that the library would have? Because the library was limited to basically CDs and highly liquid, very secure instruments. Because we inherited some stock, I say we, when I was on the library board, we inherited stock and had to get rid of it because it wasn't a CD or anything.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know
Like that.
exactly what the rules are for the library, but my guess is, being a public entity like we are, they're not going to be much different because there are limitations on what liquidity and what types of investments that municipal governments can make.
It seemed to me their goal was liquidity and security. And with public money.
Yeah, and we have a city code right now that authorizes the treasurer to invest surplus funds up to 1 year, and the model policy, theirs was up to 2 years, so we adapted ours back to our code to 1 year, and to make it in line, but also you don't necessarily want to tie up funds for that long. That may be needed for something else.
Well, his job makes it hard if you tie it up and need it, so it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But the main thing I looked at in this code, or in this policy, is that it still limits us to whatever Illinois statutes allow. You know, we've got discretion, but we still have to follow the state laws as far as what we invest in. And, you know, as long as we do that, and this gives the treasurer and the administrator and the council more guidance as you evaluate different investments. But the laddering you've got to do to keep cash flows is pretty involved.
And as a safeguard, like I said, we have Lauterbach and Amen to help
Backstop.
administer that.
Sure. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the investment policy.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Motion by Jamie, seconded by Kelly. Roll call, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Jovenini,
Yes,
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we just have to have another bookkeeper to keep an eye on them. No, that's a different story. Okay, moving on. We have an ordinance for solar energy lease with ESP Solar Airport 2A. You want to talk or
You want that,
Al?
or-
Yeah, I can,
Yeah.
this is we've had a lease with ESP Solar on the airport property north of I-55, consists of about 33.9 acres. And they're at the stage now where they're ready. They've got the lease option, they've exercised, and now this is actually the lease form we've got, which is exactly consistent with the other leases we have that were through Synergy. Obviously, each one has its own LLC operating. This happens to be ESP Solar. So, reviewed it, everything's consistent. The critical part of it is the rent is $2,000 per acre with the 2% escalator, identical to what the previous leases have. So I see no problem with following through with approving the lease. We've approved the zoning, and I don't know their exact time frame for construction, but it sounds like starting this construction season.
Again, it's identical to what we've been doing out by the airport.
And this one won't have any impact on any other things going on out there. We have 2 improvement projects, plus Pontiac Flying Service has a project as well.
Okay.
I'll motion acceptance of ordinance 2024
003.
003.
Okay. Motion by Kelly, seconded by
I'll second.
Jamie. Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes,
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Hallis,
Yes.
Lee.
Yes. Thank you.
We get all the paperwork around it.
Okay. Next, we have IDOT permit request, Route 116 West Lift Station entrance. You want Brian to,
Yep, do you want it, or?
yeah. Brian will give us a little insight.
So our lift station that we proposed out on the west side of town, we've reached agreement with IDOT to put into their right-of-way, right in front of their maintenance yard on 116 west of the hospital. And to do that, we need access off 116, and since that is a state route, we have to get a permit from them to create that entrance for that lift station. So this agreement, or this resolution here, would state that we would meet the requirements of IDOT for their permit for that entrance, and would ask approval of that resolution.
Thanks, Brian. As you know, this is going to offer us some great expansion to the west, so we just need a motion now to,
So move.
motion by John Willie,
second.
seconded by Jason. Roll call, please. Thanks, Brian.
Willie,
Yes.
Giovanini,
yes,
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Hallis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Thank you. Says it's time for mayor's comments. One of my comments is we do have need for an executive session, which will actually have some action after the executive session, I think. So I wrote a few things down here. Talk about staff, it says. I'm not sure why I wrote them. So we'll talk about them later.
Senior moment.
I don't want to do it in front of them, you know, we're better talking behind the back. I think. One thing on the agenda when we were looking at streets and that, I was going to ask all the council members to put some input into Chris and Brian on your various areas and whatnot, specific streets that you feel have been lacking on being on the list in a higher spot. And they're going to come back to us with a high priority list too, so they would appreciate all of your inputs too. Other than that, city council comments.
I would ask the question, we approved earlier in the consent agenda for the peddlers that are gonna be around for the, do we make a practice of putting something on so that people are aware?
Yes.
That,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
just,
We'll put out who the company
Yeah.
is and what they're peddling.
okay,
And I still
And the
remind
dates
you,
and times.
I always remind people, you can put a no soliciting sign in your door, and that, they can't violate that or they lose their permit. So if somebody does not want to be bothered by a peddler or a door-to-door person, even if they're permitted, you know, they need to be proactive and post their property. And we get complaints all the time, but people don't tend to do that.
It's my understanding they'll be peddling solar rooftop units.
And there's some very negative publicity on those recently about the financing parts of those. I've seen legally. The financing plans can be very overreaching.
well, but we also need to remind the public that it's I mean, we can't not allow them
No, we
to
can't not allow
peddle,
it's
so
interstate commerce,
it's,
but we can advise our residents to protect themselves.
Right,
All right. Okay. City administrator.
Yep, just a couple quick ones. I like to just give good thanks to Brian and Chris. Going through this 5-year plan, Brian's gone through a lot of work in putting together a good comprehensive plan for us. Moving forward, we're hopefully in the end, all we're really doing is choosing the projects going forward that need the attention. So I have a lot of thanks for that. It makes my life a lot easier and my job a lot easier. In addition to that, a couple of notes. Police Department named Gary Lazuski Officer of the Year. So that was a nice recognition. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we've noticed, and Chris had took the lead and noticed some of the fiber boxes that are on the ground have been breaking and getting smashed. And so he's contacted CCG, and they're going to be replacing all those small plastic ones with concrete ones that are in positions where vehicular traffic might hit them. There's been a few of them that they were supposed to withstand vehicle traffic, but it doesn't look like that at all. So we're aware of that.
Okay. Public comments. Anybody have a thing they'd like to bring up? Step up and state your name, please.
Hello, thank you, Council. My name is Kirsten Sheets. I'm with Trajectory Energy Partners. We are a community solar developer in Illinois. However, point of reference for you regarding your peddler allowances today. There's the program that we have in Illinois. It's called Illinois Shines. So if you were to post a resource on your website for consumer protections, there is information on the Illinois Shines website that essentially provides a checklist for homeowners. These are the things you should know when someone comes by and offers you a financing program for behind the meter solar or a rooftop that you need to know, can it fit on my roof? Is it too heavy for my roof? Those standard types of questions. So it would be a really great addition to pop on there so that folks in the community who go onto your Pontiac website also have that.
Thank you.
Good information.
Any other public comments? Deb, you've had yours, so you're done, okay. But we do need to have executive session on collective bargaining and property acquisition. So we will have a motion to close this.
I'll motion.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Bill. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we're back into open session, and before us is the EMT proposal to rework our rate schedule to be in line with the guidelines from the state. And so we need a proposal to proceed. So moved by Bill Callis,
I second it.
seconded by John Willie. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you. Well ahead of the 9 o'clock my wife said we would take.
See your side letter. I think I may have given you the one with the actual.
Well, yeah, we don't revoke that.
Yeah, we're only gonna be
Do I need to sign it?
You will need to sign it,
Aruba.
but I was gonna,
We probably need to come up with another
Yeah,
plan
right.
that is not in old.
I'm gonna shut.
Okay.
Haven't been there, so I'm certain.
You're not leaving zero weather.
No, but Vic and Tammy were sitting in front of us at the game when we over the game.
Okay.
Vic's like, you might be going home to zero weather. He said, well, he said in a couple of weeks. He knows about that.
That could change. That could change.
You too, John.
Injured.
I'm sorry we're gonna miss out on
Goodbye, Jim.
Robin. And